Hope everyone's doing all right. Enjoy the jams while we're waiting a few more minutes for everyone to come hop on in. How many of you got to pick up a pack today? You can raise your hand. There's some cool reaction buttons at the end, at the bottom. Okay. Yes. We'd love to see. Oh. Yes. That is awesome. How'd you guys like Huerta? Was that your first time going there, picking up a produce pack, or have you been there before? It was my first time and I absolutely loved it. I will be back. I told Autumn and Evelyn, I'm like, I will be back here, so please don't worry. It also was a great day today. Like, it was perfect weather. I don't know when we're gonna get that again. Hopefully for the rest of spring.
It was.
Like the little.
Be careful tonight. It's gonna be really windy. I was reading up to like 50 to 70 miles per hour. So
I'm terrified for that, Evelyn. The wind this week kind of scared me and Autumn enough to be like, ah. Oh yeah, first time. Elena, which one did you go to? Aruba. Yes. That's okay. The first time's always the best time because then you learn everything. You test everything out. All right. Few more minutes.
So I just want to let everybody know that if you're cooking along with us today, what I'm doing right now is washing all my vegetables. So since some of the stuff that we got is from the local farm, Huerta del Valle, it might have little buggies on it, little friends that tagged along on your produce because they don't use any pesticides. So give your vegetables a good wash if you are going to be cooking along.
Yes. And feel free, if you feel comfortable enough, you could turn your camera on and you could ask questions and be like, hey, is this the right cut? Or, is this enough to put in there? Once we kind of do our welcome remarks, I'm going to go in my kitchen and my family's already cooking on there. So I'm going to be like, get out of the way. But let's wait a few more seconds and then we'll get started at 3:05. How many of you have heard of the CSUSB Coyote Garden before? Is this your first time? Yes, Alex, I see you. Oh, yes. Okay, awesome.
First time.
First time. I love that. I've never heard of it till the email. Well, I will put all of our social media platforms on the chat and email it to you all as well. In addition to this recording, so you guys will have access to it eventually after this workshop, so you can go back to it and write on your recipe card, or if you have any questions that you saw, we'll be able to send that to you. Yeah, first time. We're trying to do a lot more workshops like this with the community garden, just so we can kind of still keep that pace and keep you guys involved. I'll say it in our little remarks, but it's been a process to get it where it is today. So we're trying to keep the momentum. Days and work days. Oh, this might be for Huerta question.
Days and time community garden work days. Autumn is a volunteer coordinator. I will let her answer that.
Yeah, that's a good question for me. So we have for CSUSB Sage. Right now, Liz, we're not allowed on campus, unfortunately. But once we are allowed and we are able to safely have volunteers come help us, we will let people know.
Yes. And we also, so a little bit about our process for the community garden at CSUSB. It took me, Autumn, and a group of students and some campus partners about 3 years to kind of develop what it is today. There was a previous garden, but then stuff happened. We kind of wanted to re-innovate it a little bit and kind of get it up to its potential. So, 3 years of proposals, grants, all this fun stuff. No worries. And so after all that process, it finally was last year, like right before COVID happened, we were able to have our produce be like, we could donate it actually, because we were planting all during spring and fall time. And then it was like our first harvest, so we were so excited. and then it hit and we were like, no, not this. But luckily we were still able to kind of work on our projects that we wanted to do. Not that we can go back on campus, but we are still making it that they'll have a foundation to kind of go off of once we do come back and people can kind of work on it. But when we were developing it, we had a lot of volunteers from our CHSB community who came out and showed us out. They helped us with the bricks, they helped us with everything, the soil, getting it all in there. I think Alex remembers those work days. Those were some fun but hard days. But it was worth it. Alrighty, we can get started now, Autumn. We'll just say our hello. And then
all right, I'm gonna turn on my iPhone so that you guys can see what I'm doing.
no worries.
I'll just introduce myself.
That's awesome. She's
Okay,
Food
hi
Network.
everybody. Food Network status. So hi everyone, I'm Autumn. I'm the CSUSB Garden Agriculture Coordinator. So Sage is my coworker, and I'll be showing you guys how to make the garden fresh pesto recipe today, and how to preserve it so you can have it all year round.
Yes. And then I'll go ahead and say my little introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Sage Kiner. I work for IERCD as well, and I'm the CSUSB Coyote Garden Outreach Coordinator. So I get to do all the fun media and get to work with Autumn and do some fun activities. Like I said, our garden has been a 3-year-long process to where it is now. So we're very grateful for all the help and support from our community members. You guys mean so much to us. We actively donate all of our produce that we did get on campus to our food pantry. It was the Obershaw Den. It's still available. Some of you individuals who are still at CCSB got the opportunity to pick up some bags from there. If you're unfamiliar, please check it out. I will include it with the resources after this event, but it's really good and they produce a lot of good work. Our team at the garden are very grateful for the volunteers who helped us throughout the time period, because it was a process. Let me say, like I said before, it was a long time and we want to continue that momentum. We're not able to go back on campus, but we are creating that foundation, like I said, to implement new sustainable projects that we hope to see there at our future workshops. I'm going to hand it over to my friend and colleague, Evelyn.
Thank you, Sage. I also work for the Inland Empire Resource Conservation District, and I also work for Huerta del Valle, who source the lettuce, the parsley that you have in your kits today. We're a small but scrappy urban farm in Ontario, River Valley, Riverside. And we really believe in one garden every mile. So we love really partnering with Sage and Autumn, with the Cal State San Bernardino Garden. And what inspires me the most is seeing how many young people are so interested in growing their own food and eating healthy, making sustainable and ethical choices for the first time in your lives. So it's a really exciting time to be here. Thank you for having me. And follow us on social media, Inland Empire Resource Conservation District. We post a lot of fun stuff. And
Yeah,
invite it too.
I'll put all that in the chat for y'all so you can look at after too.
Thank you.
Awesome. All you, Autumn, you're good to go.
All right, everybody. So if everyone's ready to get started, if you are cooking along, get out your cutting board and your knife. So what you'll need for this recipe is pretty much everything that you got in your kit, but you will need, some tools to start chopping. Knife, I have a pretty big knife here. Cutting board, maybe a little bowl. I'm using a blender today to make the pesto, but I'll also give you tips on how to make it if you don't have any type of blender or machine to process your pesto. The other things that aren't in your kit are salt and pepper. So if you want to add that to your pesto to season it, you can add salt and pepper. And then finally, the ice cube tray. So some of you were probably like wondering, what is this for? So what I usually do when I make the pesto, I put the blended pesto sauce into these ice cube trays and then put it in the freezer. And then I can have pesto anytime I want to. I can just pop out a cube and then use it in any like pasta recipe or salad dressing, or just spread it on bread, and it's really good. So let's get started. So first, if you are using a blender, I'm putting all the herbs into the blender first. So here I have the basil. So I think you all got a little bit of basil in your kit. So put that in first. Then we have the wonderful parsley from Huerta del Valle, which is so nice and fresh and was literally harvested this morning. So I'm not gonna use the whole bunch, and I'm gonna try to chop most of the top because down here at the bottom is where there's a lot of the tough stems. So I'm gonna chop off a bit from the top, and then you can save this later. You can put it like in a cup with a little bit of water, and it'll stay fresh for a few days. So I'm gonna put that to the side. I'm just gonna add a handful of parsley to the blender cup. Now, if you don't have a blender, what I would do is like finely chop up the parsley and basil and then add that to a bowl and then add the pine nuts. So if you're not using a blender, I would chop up finely the pine nuts, or you could also like take out your aggression and like pound it with like any hard object that you have to kind of smash up the pine nuts. But I'm gonna add mine to the blender. Just that whole bag that was in your kit. It's about maybe less than half a cup. I'm not really someone who measures my recipes, so I'm just kind of like, oh, a handful of this and a little bit of that. So, and everyone got a head of garlic. So some people don't like garlic because it's really strong. So maybe you'll just want to add like a really small clove. But I really like garlic, so I'm adding these 2 large cloves and 1 small one. But you can add as much as you like. So I'm adding that. Then everyone got a lemon in their kit, so I'm gonna just use half of this. And let's see, take out any seeds that you see. All right, and I'm gonna squeeze this into the blender cup. All right. Then I think you all got a small bottle of olive oil in your kits. I have my big one that I want to use up. So I think for those of you that have a kit, use about half of the bottle or so, maybe more. So once we start blending, we'll see if we need more liquids for it to blend properly. Um, but yeah, so
We
I'm
have a
gonna
question
add
for how
this.
many pine nuts do they use? I know you don't say measurements, but do you have like maybe a handful or?
Yeah, like a handful amount. I think the measurement would be like 2/3 cup if you're using cups. So like about 2/3 cup of pine nuts. And then so I'm gonna put the olive oil. I always like eyeball everything. So let's see. I think that's good for now. And then I'm gonna add salt and pepper. So maybe like half a teaspoon of salt. And then you can taste it and see if you need to add more later. And I'm gonna add some pepper. Then at this point, if you guys want to add anything extra, like cheese or like vegan cheese or like red pepper flakes, you can add extra things. This is just kind of like the basic base recipe, but you can add different flavorings to it at this point if you want to. Okay, now let's see. I'm gonna start to blend this. So if you have a blender and if you have like the pulse setting where you can like pulse it to blend it, that's what I use. And you might have to shake it around a little bit too to get it fully blended. So I think I'm gonna mute because my blender is pretty loud. So I'm gonna mute so that you don't have to hear that.
While you're blending, Autumn, just want to recap that we have everything in the chat. You've used basil, parsley, pine nuts, olive oil, garlic, half a lemon.
All right, so my blender blended up the pesto. So if you guys don't have a blender, like I said, just chop everything up like really finely, add those ingredients to a bowl, and then add the olive oil, the lemon juice, salt, pepper, and mix it around. I've also seen like the traditional way of making it is like with the mortar and pestle, like the stone bowl with like the stone hammer that you like can pound all the ingredients together. So if you have that, you could do that too. But I'll show you guys what my pesto looks like. Let's see. So that's what it looks like. Pretty smooth. I like mine pretty smooth. You can leave it a little chunkier if you like it like that. This is a consistency that I like. So now that we have our pesto prepared, I'm gonna get a wooden spoon and kind of scrape down everything. Make sure it's mixed. And then we can pour it into our ice cube trays.
That was really easy and really fast.
Yeah. So let's see, I'm gonna pour it in.
I know there's also pasta that we put in your guys' bags as well.
Oh yeah, so if you're wanting to add this to pasta, you can start boiling your water and cooking your pasta. Let's see. I'm just trying to add an even amount to all the little ice cube trays. It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. And then what I'll do is I'll put this in the freezer and it'll last a pretty long time. You can just keep it in the tray, but once it's frozen, you could also like pop the little cubes out and put it into, maybe you could reuse the bag that your pine nuts were in, and you can pop the little cubes into here to store it easier. So let's see. I'm just adding this all together. Okay, my cubes look a little messy, but here's what they look like. And so I'll put that in the freezer, and then there's a little bit left in here, and that's probably what I'll use for my salad dressing recipe that I'll show you guys right now. So I think you all got a head of lettuce. Some of you got iceberg, some of you got green leaf. I got iceberg lettuce today from Huerta. And the lettuce there is my favorite because it's just so fresh and like crunchy. So I'm gonna chop the lettuce for the salad. I think I'm just gonna use half, so I'll put that half to the side. And so right now, like while we're prepping the salad is when I would take care of your pasta. So I think I hear my water boiling. So I'm gonna go put that in really quick. So let's see. And always remember to salt your pasta water. That adds flavor to the pasta. Um, and you can use a little bit of the leftover pasta water to add to the sauce to kind of like combine it together. So I like to break mine in half, but you don't have to. I'm gonna add that. Well, that should be done in like 10 minutes, I think. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the salad. Okay, just finished chopping the lettuce. All I'm gonna add that to a bowl, a giant salad bowl. And for the dressing, you can use the pesto that we just made, and all you need to add is a little bit of vinegar that is in this little cup that came in your kit, and then the other half of the lemon. And then maybe a little bit more salt and pepper, and cheese if you want to add that. So I'm going to put some of the remaining pesto into a bowl to make the salad dressing. And I don't think you have to use the full amount of vinegar, depending on how much pesto salad dressing you're making. So I'm just going to add a little bit, like that much. Then I'm going to add some more of the lemon. Just a little squeeze, mix that around. And then I'm going to add some more salt and some more pepper.
How's everyone doing?
Yeah, let us know if you have any questions about anything. Let's see, I'm just going to look at the chat real quick.
Oh, Martha had a question that I missed.
Okay. Did she add the lettuce? So I have my lettuce separate here in a bowl. Okay. Let's see. Smells so good. All right. It's all right if it's not as creamy. I think it's just my blender. It's like really high powered. Okay. So now I think you all got a tomato in your kit. I'm going to use half for the salad and half for the pasta. I'm going to chop it up into cubes. I wish it was tomato season right now because then we'd have really good like summer tomatoes, which Huerta does have, just to let you guys know.
Summer soon.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm just going to chop up half for the salad. All right. And add that to the lettuce. All right, and then I'm going to add the salad. Actually, I'm going to taste it first to make sure that it tastes right. So let me get a little spoon to taste it. So I would recommend you all taste your pesto to make sure it's the way you want it. So I'm just going to taste it. Okay, it's really good. Very garlicky, the way I like it. Okay, so I'm going to add this to the salad. All right, so there's your salad done. All right. All right. So let me know if anyone has any questions about that. So just to repeat again, for the salad dressing, I just took a little bit of pesto, added a little bit of vinegar, some lemon juice, mixed it together, more salt and pepper, and then tasted it to make sure that the ratios of everything was good. And again, you can add cheese, regular cheese, vegan cheese, red pepper flakes to make it spicy, whatever you want. So I'm gonna check on my pasta real quick. If you guys are cooking your pasta, don't forget about it. So I'm gonna check on mine. All right. It's almost done.
There's a question here from Melody.
Mm-hmm.
We add tomato to the blender if we don't like whole tomatoes.
So the tomato is not necessarily for the pesto sauce. It's to add to the pasta and the salad. I just think pesto goes really well with fresh tomatoes, so that's why we added the tomato. You could add it to the pesto sauce, but I'm gonna keep mine separate and just chop that into the salad and into the pasta after it's done cooking. So I'm gonna chop the other half of the tomato for the pasta. And then you could also add like protein to the pasta, like any meat or vegan protein that you want.
I love your kitchen, Autumn.
Oh, thank you.
It's that sponsorship.
I know, the wood everywhere. You could add different vegetables. Sometimes I like to add mushrooms. You could add like garbanzo beans for protein. Sun-dried tomatoes are really good. If you don't want fresh tomatoes, you can do sun-dried tomatoes and those are really good. All right. So let's see. I think my pasta is done now. So I'm gonna drain it into the sink. And it's okay if it's not like fully cooked because you can finish the pasta in the sauce. So I'm gonna drain it. Then I left a little water in the pan and I'm not gonna shake it out too much because I still want some of that water. So I'm gonna put it back into the pot. And then I'm gonna put this back on the stove. And add some of my pesto sauce. So I know my cubes aren't frozen now. So I'm just gonna try to scoop a little bit out, but if they were frozen, you could just drop a few cubes in there and melt it, and then your sauce will be ready. So I'm just gonna add a little bit.
Autumn, look what step I'm still on. I'm still.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I've just done this recipe like a million times, so I'm like muscle memory. And if you guys want to show me what you're doing, I want to see too, because I'm just about done here. Let's see. And then after I add the sauce, I'm going to add the fresh tomatoes. If you want to cook your tomatoes a little bit more, you can add them to a pan with like some olive oil and like cook them down. But I like mine fresh in the pasta. So I'm just going to bring the tomatoes real quick and add them.
And Wendy, Parmesan would be great, but I've also used feta cheese and really loved like the consistency and the flavor of feta cheese and the pesto.
All right. So there's my pasta done. And once you get used to making this, it just comes together really quickly. So I'm sorry if I did it quick, but this is just a super simple recipe to make with the salad. All right, so there's my finished pasta, everybody. All right, I'm gonna come to the computer so I can see where you guys are at. All right, so I see Georgina is cooking. Who else is cooking? Sage, what step are you on?
I'm still blending. I guess.
Oh, I know. You have to like scrape it down and like keep blending it.
Would it be bad?
This looks good.
Would it be bad to add garlic salt?
You can add garlic salt.
Sponsored by Target.
When I make one, I put so much pepper and so much.
I love pepper though.
Yeah.
It's like dangerous.
Ooh, that's Asiago cheese. That sounds good.
I'll show you guys, since I'm vegan, plant-based, I'll show you guys what I would use if you're interested in like a dairy-free alternative. I'll bring it over here. So I really like to use nutritional yeast. I know it sounds weird, but it's like kind of this like cheesy powder. And it has a lot of vitamins in it, and it has just a really mild, like nutty, cheesy flavor. It's actually used in a lot of chips, like regular chips as seasoning. If you look on the ingredients, you'll see that like yeast or powdered yeast is listed because it just has like a really savory, kind of cheesy taste. So that's just like the nutritional yeast by itself. You can also buy this, which I really like. It's called Parmesan, like Parmesan. But so it's the nutritional yeast kind of blended together with a mix of nuts to make it the similar texture as Parmesan cheese. So I really like to use this. So I'll put some in my salad and I'll put some in my pasta. Ooh, Sage, you have some too.
I love nutritional yeast. It's yummy.
And it has a lot of vitamins. So if you want to add that to your pesto, like definitely add it. Even if you're using cheese, like regular cheese, you can add both.
You can also sprinkle it on popcorn if you make popcorn at home.
Evelyn, I do that.
So good.
with some hot sauce, like some tapatio. What do you do when the pasta after it's done? So after your pasta is done cooking, put it back into the pot and put your finished pesto sauce and mix it around with the pasta until it's just heated through.
How much olive oil did you put in again?
So if you're using that small bottle, like maybe about half or even the whole thing. It depends on how much your blender needs to like get it working.
I need a little bit more.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
In the fridge, it might last a week, but in the freezer, in a bag, it'll last like months. Maybe even a year. So let me know. Oh, it'll be gone before then. Yep. Yeah. You can spread it on bread. You can do so many things with it. Maybe, let's see. While we're waiting for everyone to be done, because I want to see your final products, everybody. I'll give you a tip, like just for your salad. And since this whole workshop series is kind of about like reducing waste and preserving your food, so that's why we're showing you how to make this pesto and preserve it so that you don't waste it. Another way to reduce waste, especially with bread, like say if your bread has gone stale, what I'll do is I'll chop up the stale bread slices, spray them with a little bit of olive oil, and put like Italian seasoning on it, and then put those in the oven, and you have homemade croutons. So I love to do that. So, and that's a way to, reduce food waste so you don't have to throw away that stale bread. Because it's still good, it's just a little bit hard.
Yeah, it's a really good tip.
So pasta can cook for about 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, and the garlic does make it kind of spicy. You could also like roast your garlic beforehand and then put it into the sauce. That's something you could do. But it'll cook a little bit in the pasta. So let me know if anyone needs any help. Let's see, I'm just looking through the videos.
Oh no, Jean, John.
My dog didn't have any garlic alone, but I had some at home. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry we missed that in your bag. But I'm glad you had some at home. It's good. How are you doing, Sage? How's your sauce going?
Looks like she's still blending.
Yeah. So you can make different variations too. I was just thinking about this. So sometimes if I have a lot of kale, I'll add kale to my pesto sauce. And it doesn't add too much of like a greeny flavor. It just makes the sauce like more hearty. And you get the nutrition from the kale. So if you have kale and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do with it, you can just add it in there. Or even spinach, any green really, you can add a little bit in there.
That's good to know. Like for us picky eaters who don't like eating sometimes.
Yeah. I kind of see pesto as like a savory, like green smoothie. Because you add the parsley, the lemon, and then garlic. You could add kale, chard, collard greens. Some people, I've even seen some people make pesto with like cilantro, or other herbs. You could add like just a whole bunch of different herbs.
Should I add?
You can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have cilantro from the garden.
Yeah, we have cilantro too. And you can also switch out the nuts. You don't have to use pine nuts. You can use like almonds, walnuts, pecans, or like mixed nuts. I've done that before whenever I ran out of pine nuts, and I just have like that container of mixed nuts. I just add that. All right, so how's everybody doing? If you want to show what you're doing or how it's coming together, I would like to see it. Oh,
Maria,
Athene,
looks really
that
nice.
looks beautiful. Yeah, so I think I'll send out a recipe for you guys. I'll type it out because I usually don't measure, but I know that's hard for some people. So I think we'll send out like a typed out recipe for you guys.
You can also unmute yourself if you have a question that's easier asked verbally.
Mm-hmm.
Hope y'all are enjoying the playlist we put together.
Recommend Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
So Razo, the vinegar can be used in the salad dressing. So the salad dressing again is the pesto mixed with a little bit of vinegar in that container that you have and a squeeze of lemon. You could add it to the pasta, but it might make it really tangy. So I would just recommend it for the salad dressing.
Just like birds of a feather, ring together.
Oh yeah, good tip, Melody. So Melody in the chat said, if you like garlic a lot, you can make aglio e olio too. So that's like a pasta recipe. That's kind of like a deconstructed pesto where you chop up the garlic, chop up the parsley, and then just add that to cooked pasta with like olive oil and then cheese and sometimes like red pepper flakes. So that's a good recipe too with your leftover parsley that you could make. I see Georgina shaking something. Is that your salad?
Oh, nice.
Your sauce, awesome.
Oh, the dressing. Look at the dressing.
Nice. And let me know if anyone has any other questions or if you're stuck on something. Jean said, I've never used pesto as a salad dressing. Good idea. Yeah, I think like sometimes we separate like, okay, there's pesto and then there's salad dressing. But I was like, pesto is just olive oil and herbs, and dressing is just olive oil and herbs. So I was like, why can't I make pesto into a dressing? That's why you just add a little vinegar and lemon for like that tart dressing flavor.
I wonder too, Autumn, if you could do roasted garlic.
Yeah, you could do roasted garlic. That would be good. And it would make the garlic like less spicy. Mhm.
I'm adding tons of garlic because that's my fave.
Yeah.
How many cloves are you adding?
I added 4.
4 cloves. Oh my god. And all these ingredients are healthy for you. So this is a healthy recipe. Even though it tastes so good, this is a pretty healthy recipe. You're getting your greens in, getting vegetables, getting garlic, which is really good for like your immune system. So this is a really healthy recipe.
You're getting healthy fats from the olive oil.
Mm-hmm. From the nuts too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is also my other favorite seasoning. Autumn knows what's up.
Oh, vegan cheeseless?
Oh,
Vegan
vegan
chicken seasoning
chicken
sauce.
seasoning.
Salt, onion powder, turmeric, and garlic powder.
Oh, that sounds good.
Sounds good. Elena said, yes, I love garlic too. I use 3 large cloves. Nice.
Talk about our giant garlics at Huerta del Valle, Autumn.
Oh yeah, so at Huerta del Valle, not to promote Huerta, but kind of to promote Huerta, we have these huge garlic cloves. Like you'll see, like the typical head of garlic is like this. The elephant garlic, 1 clove is the size of 1 regular garlic head. Like, and they're so good. They're not as spicy as like regular garlic, so you can still use that giant clove, and it works just as well as regular garlic. And on the topic of food waste, if your garlic starts to sprout and starts to go bad, you can plant that, and it'll grow into another clove of garlic, or you can use the greens of the garlic, kind of like green onions.
My garlic never has a chance to go bad. I eat it. I love garlic.
I have a lot of garlic in my area right now.
Melody says, I plant my green onions, but sometimes it doesn't work. Well, let us know what happened, because sometimes it's easy to plant those when they already have the roots on them, and you can just sprout it from there.
What days are the Huerta del Valle work days?
So the like volunteer work days,
Yeah.
so those are during the hours that either I work at Huerta as the market and CSA box coordinator. Those will be the days that I'm there, which are Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday for the market. And then the days that our farmer is there, if you're into more like farming activities like harvesting and planting, and those vary. But if you go on our website under volunteers, you'll be directed to the sign up form, and you'll have all the schedules listed.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And you can also volunteer to help at the markets in San Bernardino and Jurupa Valley too.
And that form has all the locations and the times listed.
Where are some of you at right now? I'm in Fontana.
I'm in Crestline in the mountains.
I mean, I have a quick question about the San Bernardino market.
Sure.
When is that open?
It's every first Tuesday of the month and every third Sunday of the month.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
So people are in San Bernardino, Riverside, cool. Pomona.
Yeah, people drove from everywhere to come pick up your kids. Thank you.
Right across the street from school, haha. From Cal State. Colton, Ontario, Harupa Valley. Nice. Ontario, that's one of our sites. Harupa Valley is one of our other sites. So you guys are near those.
So there were a few people that just joined us. Do you want to do
Okay.
a short recap?
Sure, yeah. So for those of us that just joined, I showed how to make a pesto recipe in my blender. So this is the remnants of it. So I added about a handful of parsley. I added the little baggie of pine nuts that came with your kit, which is about maybe less than 2/3 cup. Again, like a handful. I told everyone that I'm not someone who measures my recipes a lot, but we'll be sure to send out a more detailed recipe list for you guys later. So parsley, pine nuts, you got a little packet of basil to add in there. And then you got your garlic. So garlic is up to you. If you like it really garlicky, you can add like 3. I think Sage added 3 garlic cloves. I added 2 because it is pretty spicy. Then you add your olive oil. I have my big container of olive oil. But in your kits, I think you guys got a smaller one. And you can start with adding about half of it. And depending on your blender, you might need to add more to get it working. But you can just add as you go. And then after the olive oil, you'll add salt, pepper, a few sprinkles of each, and then make sure to taste your sauce after to see if it's how you like it. And then if you want, a squeeze of lemon in your sauce. So that's the basic pesto recipe base. So once you have that in there, if you have a blender with that pulse setting, you'll press the pulse to like, because you don't want to like liquefy it, you still want a little bit of texture. So you want to use the pulse setting if you have it. And again, if you don't have any kind of blender or machine to make this sauce with, you can just chop up really finely your parsley, your pine nuts. You can smash them in the bag or chop them on your cutting board. Chop up the basil, add that to a bowl, mix it with the olive oil, the seasonings, and the lemon juice, and then you can make your kind of, it'll be a little bit chunkier pesto. That's the basic pesto recipe.
Y'all have a pup. Go ahead, show him. Nice.
Oh, cute. I see a question. Are the pine nuts from Huerta? Where would you suggest we can buy them from? So we don't grow pine nuts at Huerta. Oh, bye Naomi. But the ones I got for your kids, I either got them at Target or at Costco. Costco sells like a big bag for like $20, which is a good deal because pine nuts are really expensive if you buy the little pack. So if you want that $20 pack that'll last you a long time, I would recommend that. And they're at Costco. Okay, and then for those of you that just joined, so I explained the pesto recipe. And then to make the salad dressing, and I'll show you my finished salad here with the pesto salad dressing. All you'll have to do is add a little bit of the vinegar, maybe like a teaspoon, to your pesto. Mix it around, add a little bit more of a squeeze of lemon, a little more salt and pepper, and then you'll have your pesto salad dressing. And then I explained also you can add whatever cheese you want, vegan cheese. I showed everyone the vegan alternatives that I use, nutritional yeast. But you can add Parmesan cheese. Someone said Asiago cheese, anything like that. So let me know if those of you that just joined have any other questions. Oh, and while you're preparing all of that, that's when I recommend to cook the pasta. So boil your water, cook the pasta while you're doing all that so that you can save time. And then with your finished pesto, you guys can put that, oh, let me go grab ice cube trays. Mine look kind of messy, but you can put that in your ice cube tray, freeze it, and you can keep it in the tray if you want to, or you can pop out the frozen cubes. And to save on waste, you can put them in your pine nut bag that is now empty. And then anytime you want to use the pesto recipe for like pasta, you can pop in a cube to your spaghetti, or you can defrost a cube and add the lemon and vinegar to make a salad dressing. And I also gave a tip just so that everyone can hear on how to make your own homemade croutons so that you don't waste your stale bread. If your like slice of sourdough bread has gone stale, just chop it into cubes, spray some olive oil on it, and put like some Italian seasoning or garlic salt. Put it in the oven until they get crispy, and then put that on your salad. It's so good. So someone asked, what other sauces and dressings do you make and freeze in the freezer tray, Autumn? So usually just the pesto, but what I also do, which might be kind of weird, is I freeze coconut milk in my ice cube trays because I never use the whole can of coconut milk for my recipes. So I'll freeze the remaining amount and then I can just add like a cube of coconut milk to like a curry or a pasta sauce to make it creamy. I actually have one in my freezer. I'll show you real quick. This is my frozen coconut milk. Because I used a little bit for like a curry recipe, but I didn't use the whole thing. So now anytime I just want to add some coconut milk to a recipe, I'll just pop out a cube and put it in there. And you can also add it to coffee as like a creamer, which might be really good. Mm-hmm.
And Mandy, I think I see you typing away. You can also unmute yourself if that's easier to ask questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know you're cooking and typing can get difficult.
I also arrived late, so I was like, I don't want to ask something that everyone's like, that was already covered, Mandy, and you showed up 45 minutes late. Well, I appreciate the additional demo because everyone knows I'm hopeless in the kitchen. And I was kind of wondering, I know, not to put you on the spot, Autumn, but I know you mentioned, I think you're a vegan. And I was just wondering like what your tips are. Obviously, it's not difficult for you to like get in a ton of produce every day, but sort of just what your tips are for people. These are good, like freezing coconut milk and having it for quick use is not something I would have thought of. Just wondering, like, what do you do kind of on a daily basis to make sure you're kind of setting yourself up to use like fresh stuff from Huerta?
So it's all in how I prep my stuff and the way I store it. Because I learned the hard way when I first started going to Huerta. If I just threw my vegetables in my fridge without like packaging them properly, they would go bad really quick, especially since they're so fresh and there's no like preservatives or chemicals used. So one tip I have, since we're using parsley and any herb that's like similar to parsley, I would dampen like a paper towel and wrap the remaining parsley in that damp paper towel and then put that in a plastic or reusable bag. And then being vegan, a lot of the time, like there are a lot of vegan options when you go out to eat, but I do make a lot of my own recipes just so I can be sure, you know, that it's all plant-based. So I'll make big batches and like portion them into Tupperware containers and freeze them or keep them in the fridge and just use those instead of going out to eat a lot, which can get expensive. Oh yeah, and nutritional yeast. I think I mentioned that I use the nutritional yeast. This you can add to anything. Like everyone said, it's really good on popcorn as a seasoning. This I put with some hot sauce on my popcorn. It's so good. And then I showed how they sell this other type that's nutritional yeast mixed with nuts to make kind of like a Parmesan cheese like alternative. So this is what I'll add to my pasta when I'm ready to eat it.
We could grow this too, right? We could replant this or like cultivate this.
I think so. I've never tried it. I know I have one
I
here.
think we tried it one time, me and my dad. I don't know if it worked out.
Yeah, but let me know if
Like that,
anyone
like a
has.
cup of water, and
Yeah,
then like the roots come.
yeah, maybe. If you want to plant some garlic. Hi, Liz. So we're just at 4 o'clock. I think this is supposed to go till 4:30, but if you have any questions, let me know. And I want to see your finished recipe, your in progress recipe. Salad recipe.
Adam, what are you planting in your garden right now?
At my garden at home, I have kale, I have eggplant, and lots of mint that has taken over my garden.
Let me bring my mint. Hold on.
And then what do you do with your eggplant?
I like to roast it with olive oil, garlic, salt, pepper, and just eat it with anything that I'm eating, like pasta, or like you can make a sandwich with it, like with tomato sauce.
This is my sad mint.
Oh, it's getting there. I love eggplant too. I saute it with a lot of tomatoes and a lot of cumin.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Like a curry. Is that like a curry recipe kind of?
It's a Moroccan recipe that I've kind of made into my own version. I add like some jalapenos in there.
That sounds good. And do you eat it with like rice or?
Yep.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Sometimes I'll add some chickpeas to it.
Mm-hmm.
This is my other indoor plant that has grown just crazy.
Oh, that's really cute, Sage.
It's so big.
Does it have a name, Sage? I know a lot of people name their plants.
It does have a name.
What is it?
I knew it.
It's Sayla. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's super cute. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Adam, what other workshops are you guys thinking of right now? Are you thinking of more kind of cooking demos, or would you want people to send you guys like ideas about maybe what they want to see?
That would be great if you have ideas, but we do have our next one kind of tentatively planned. So we want this series of workshops to be about preserving things that are in season. So the next one will probably be how to make your own orange marmalade jam type of sauce. Because orange season is just coming into season right now. Like we have so many oranges and they're like perfectly sweet right now. So right now is the time to preserve them so that you can have them all year round. And so probably we'll have someone from the Master Food Preservers program come and show us how to properly can and store the preserves because there's a certain method you have to do. So that should be interesting. And I think with the orange preserved recipe, you use the rind as well, so you're not wasting the peel.
You could put in the chat as well any recommendations that you guys think would be a good workshop in the future or something you would like to see. Let me put our social medias on here too.
Ooh, gazpacho.
That would be good for summer, like a summer with like cucumber, tomato. That would be really good.
There's it's actually a brewery out in Los Angeles. Before COVID, I'd been there, and they make a hearts of palm ceviche. So it's vegan, and they use hearts of palm in place of the fish. It was so delicious.
Wait, what's that place called?
It's called Golden Road Brewery. It's like near my sister's house in I think Eagle Rock.
Oh, that sounds good because I do miss ceviche, and I've made it with like just with with cauliflower. I've made it with cauliflower, and then you just add the same like cucumber, tomato, cilantro. But that sounds interesting because the hearts of palm has that kind of like shredded texture, right?
That's like the only thing I really like still miss is ceviche.
So Maria Elena said, I took the refrigerator pickle class and I still use the recipe. It was that was a cool workshop.
That's amazing.
Ooh, Melody said some type of cauliflower rice recipe would be awesome. That would be good. I think Huerta might have cauliflower coming soon, so maybe we can do that. The class, that could be good to preserve your own salsa with like tomatoes, chilies, cilantro. Or I don't know if Angel meant like salsa dancing.
Because we've had that too.
Salsa dancing.
No, I actually did mean like salsa food, but you know, it could be a joint effort.
Salsa dancing.
There's probably a club somewhere that could come and do something.
Or that's a new business idea.
Salsa and salsa.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wendy. If you want to share your recipe pictures with us, send it to those social medias that Sage just sent, and maybe we'll repost it.
And if you're done with your pesto, let us take a picture of it right now and turn on your camera.
Here, I'm gonna put my pasta in a plate. So
Evelyn, should I hold up my blender?
Yes. Can Zil come join us?
That is awesome.
Georgina has pesto. Show us your pesto, Georgina.
Yeah, I was like, where's she at? There he is. Let me get mine.
Okay, we're on standby. Okay,
my
ready for the picture?
Man. Ready? One.
Okay, we have someone else joining us. Okay.
1, 2.
Okay. 1, 2, pesto. Thank you.
Awesome.
This is so good. I've never made fresh pesto. I've only ever bought it at the store. This tastes so delicious. The lemon is perfect in it.
Yes.
It's really good.
Yeah, and it's super easy. Super easy. And you can make a big batch of it. A whole bunch
The
of
tomatoes are my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are my fave. Alrighty, y'all, as we close on up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh, a cauliflower pizza. That would be awesome.
That's delicious.
We will have to look up a good recipe. And maybe we could do a series on our Instagram, some recommended recipes to utilize. And then you guys could just screenshot them. And then maybe we could host another workshop and kind of show what the steps are. That'd be fun.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, everyone, we'll send the recording to your email so you have access to it. And then feel free to follow us on all those social media pages. And we look forward to seeing y'all again. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Evelyn. Good job, Autumn. You did good.
I get nervous, sorry.
No, don't get nervous. You did really good.
I'm gonna eat my dinner.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat my salad right now. All right, have a good day.
Okay, thank you.